Welcome back to Taco Bowler Gaming. My name is Taco Bowler, and today we're continuing our run as the Union, our third attempt as the Union in Grand Tactician, the Civil War, and this is 1.08, and this is obviously the post-recording of the Battle of Wheeling, in currently Wheeling, Virginia. Hopefully soon it will be Wheeling, West Virginia. But it is currently Wheeling, Virginia. So we have to march over there, and it is a very hilly map. I'm going to zoom in and see some of these hills quite often. But we are heading way over there into a high mountain. I am not expecting them to be up there. They had 3 different ways that they and their 2,000 recruits could come, or reinforcements could come in. And so I was expecting them to be somewhere near the town of Deweyville. That's where I would have set up. Or the very worst on the edge of the forest. Spoiler alert, they were not, but I go very cautiously through this map, trying to make sure that what happened in some of the previous battles, where I kind of had an army that was out of position and getting caught at different points, and these various brigades getting caught at various points, where that wouldn't have happened. Here, though, they're traveling up the road, and I'm getting the cannon out of the way because the cannon are slowing down the infantry. You can try and get that out of the way, but the cannons will be their own problem at the end of this. They start slowing themselves down because they apparently decide they don't need to use the horses to move the cannons. That's a recurring problem for the next 2 episodes. Something else that I was noticing about that time was that we are already at now 8, almost 9 o'clock in the evening down there, and so there's the end of day. I was kind of hoping that they, maybe they'd be in Riddle Mountain and we could set up for battle right here, but we can't. So I just move everything as far forward overnight as I can, and just start slowly marching up. This does mean that the reinforcements that I remember at the end of the last episode, I had been happy in anticipation that they were not going to come through for 9 hours. Well, the overnight came, so they are through. We are all there. So here I am setting up on top of Riddle Mountain, expecting them to be somewhere around Deweyville, and maybe my cannons could do something from there. I don't know, but they are not there. So at that point, I'm like, okay, where are you? Because I was not expecting them to be over near the victory point, but they were. I'm also keeping my infantry in these dual lines that you see here, and so we don't have the full width of the single line with everyone firing, but hopefully we have some reserves and we can kind of fill in the line as we can and as we go. That's somewhat what we're hoping for. At some point, I'll check the losses. We lost 4 overnight, because sometimes you lose some troops overnight. In fact, almost every overnight you wind up losing troops in the army. We only lost 4. They lost a full 100 overnight. You can already see how far the minor victory line is to us, in spite of the fact that they've controlled the victory point for now nearly a full 24 hours in the battle. That is because the morale difference is a staggering difference right now between our 2 armies. Just we have dominated them so much, and we have fulfilled so many of those the goals. The morale difference is a staggering amount. I think when we fight on Union territory, it's around 20. Here it might be a little bit closer. I'm not actually certain on that, but it is there. So Mount Riddle there is what we're going for, and it is a significant mountain. So here I'm trying to figure out, I'm expecting them now to be at Mount Riddle Church right there with the fence lines, but they're not. I am checking that it's cloudy at that point here, but yeah, I'm expecting them to be there, and they're not. And so now I'm really kind of worrying and wondering, but also I'm kind of like, okay, are they on the mountain? Because the road there goes through the forest. I'm not overly excited about fighting them in the forest because I wanted to use my cannons to my advantage. But that road there goes through the forest, but it goes through a valley in between 2 hills, one on the edge of the map and then a very large mountain that we're going to look at here in a moment. So I think that that well, maybe I can try and find a high ground, or at least get going with it. And eventually I'm going to try and head up the mountain and then come down at the line if the line is right at the victory point. But unfortunately, the line was just slightly off, and I'm forced to change course. But here I am very slowly, and I'm trying to figure out what in the world I'm going to do with the cannons. Now, the cannons are very slowly moving. You can see there as they're trying to get through there. And that is, again, because they are not on the horses. They are trying to push those cannons through. I'll figure that out eventually and lumber them there. But yeah, so now I'm moving up to the church and those fence lines and trying to get that in place. But no one's there. So at this point I decide to turn off the road. At this point they have to be around the victory point, and they have to be expecting me to come up that road. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off the road, and that's when I notice the hill is there, or the mountain is there, and I decide that I'm going to go up the mountain, crest the mountain at the summit, and then I would be able to come downhill at a line at the road at the victory point. But they're actually on the edge of the map. Spoiler alert for where they are here. They're on the edge of the map, and it took a full 2 days to march over there. And even then, we had that victory. So yeah, 71 to I think 53 is there, if I'm remembering correctly. It's a very huge amount. So this is where I'm kind of noticing that they're not going appropriately. I can still see the fire lines, so that means that they are lumbered. So yeah, I'm considering there going up the mountain, and we decided to do that. I assume that Riddle Mountain is a real mountain somewhere, somewhere in the Appalachians, perhaps even the northern Appalachians. I don't know that for sure, but just because some of the battle maps that I do know more about, they do have real names of things, like for instance Bull Run has Henry Hill and Matthews Hill and stuff like that. So I assume that's there. But yeah, you can see that we're already at 4 p.m. and I'm still waiting on my cannons. So at this point I'm kind of deciding to kind of sit and wait for the day. But I am going to see if they're at the victory point, because they could be randomly up at a corner of the map on somewhere else behind me, which would be highly interesting, but would just mean that I could go take the victory point and then set up a defensive position at the edge of the forest, one of the places that I thought they might be. But here you see I'm lumbering them up, and you can see the change in how it looks on the map. They now have that forward, up, and down instead of the for battle things, and they will move a little bit faster with that. So note that. But here I'm going to crest the hill and see if I can find them on the road and on the victory point, and see what that line looks like, and then get set up tomorrow to really hit them in the forest, which not great for the cannons. But and then if they're not there, I might still have some time to go take the victory point tonight and make them come to me. This is when I'm like, oh, someone left. It winds up being only 10 have left the field, even though it says 150. Those are just not accurate things. You can see there in the camera that I'm pretty nervous because I don't really know where they are or what's going on. And I'm now in the middle of a forest. So now we're going to move down here. And that's when I noticed the skirmishers right up there on the top. So now I notice them up there. And so I know the army is there, and I turn to face it, but then I thought, oh wait, that could be just the small army, or the whole army might be there kind of stretching out. And so I would be kind of turning right now into a little bit of a trap if that were to happen. And that is exactly what winds up happening. They're lined up a very long line in the corner of the map. And I don't really see that. I can't really see that until we get through the trees. But they are in a long line here. And I just now see that. And now I see the extent of the line, and that we're turning right into it. So here I am begging for them to halt. I'm literally repeating halt, 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 halt. But they do stop eventually. There we go. And I'll set up a line against them. They do have some cannons that are going there, and you can see I go a little bit to the south, and I'm beginning to come up with my battle plan now. So we'll wait until the next day, but basically the battle plan will be to attack with everything I have on their far right, right on the edge of the map, and then try to roll their line up that way. So I will set up here, we'll set up the 2nd Division on the front, and then the 1st Division right behind them, put Grant back there, and then we're going to bring the cannons up, and I set the cannons kind of just on a hill that can fire into the general area, and so I'll wind up setting them up here, give or take, that general area there, trying to get over that little bit of a crest of a hill to see them and be able to fire. Even though it's firing up the hill, they'll be able to fire a little bit, I hope. And then I notice that I have some build points, and so I go ahead and build a parapet for the cannons, because my troops aren't going to need them, they're attacking. So we'll build the parapet there, just to give the cannons a little bit more protection. And we'll see how that goes. So there we are. And a recurring theme for the next 2 videos is going to be me getting my units routed without really knowing what in the world is happening with them. I think they're being flanked by some of those skirmishers as I look at it now. That is something I'm trying to figure out. But just trying to figure out what in the world's going on, because we're moving straight up onto the Confederate left, and then we're going to get a lot of our units routed doing this. And I think it's just because I didn't quite protect my flank enough. This one I can explain a little bit more than the next few times where things like that were happening. I think it could just be lack of experience too. So these guys, they've hit the back of the map and they're just kind of all moving to the right. I did not order that, but they're kind of lining themselves out there, and so now we're getting flanked. We're getting actually sent into the flank there. And the other thing I think might be happening is nearby units routing. I know is a thing. And so yeah, these guys are now being fired at into the back. So yeah, that's what's going on there. So even with the coverage and things like that, they're under artillery fire. They're being fired at. They're flanked, all that stuff. And now I'm begging the 1st Division to get up there, quickly to kind of do that. We have to start rolling the line. We have to get this stuff on the edge taken care of. We have to do that because otherwise the battle plan is not working, and we can't turn our own flank, and we continue to get flanked, and the 2nd Division will just get destroyed. I'm begging the commanders to rally their troops, but we'll see. And you can see here, these guys, they're winning that combat, but then they get flanked, and so there's 2 more brigades that are routing, just from being flanked by that concave line that the Confederates now have, as we've broken the line, but not on the end. And so we aren't turning it. But there we break the artillery. The 1st Division's coming up. And that really, really does help. We just kind of push these units forward, and that will carry the day, I believe. And we just try to get some of these units to be together a little bit more and get back together and maybe get back in the fight. But we're just desperately hoping for that. There is a very large division that happens. These are just tons of melee that are coming in, and see, they rout that division, they win it, so that happened. That was melee that did that, but then now they're flanked because they're out of position, and we can rout them. But then that one got flanked by something. I don't even know on that one why that one got flanked, but now they're running north, and so I noticed they're running north, and oh my goodness, there's a division down here where all these things are running toward. That creates a problem. So I send a unit down there. But then I'm like, well, let's see how those other units are doing, and eventually we will get that to where those units that are down there are able to do things and able to make that work. And here I decide to do my own kind of melee charge, and you can see that that unit just disappears. I don't quite know what to do with that at that point in time, but the unit just disappears, and here these units are back enough to be able to fight that unit as it retreats, which is good. They are captured. That one unit was captured, and I just didn't see the notification. But they were captured. A good 2,400 men, probably 2,100 or so at that very moment in time, were captured. But there's the retreating army. We wound up with 3-1 casualties, and it wound up doing way better than I expected, even though we didn't capture very many guns.
Glorious victory at Wheeling. The army of Shenandoah fleeing in panic. We instigated 6,097 casualties, 4,635 captured. So I thought that division that was right on the edge, that full division, like 2,400 infantry, I thought that was on the edge. I think it just escaped off the edge. No, we captured it. That's why it disappeared. 4,635 captured it, and I don't know. Yes, they've been paroled. No prison camps are available, but that's fine. 5,542 rifles and 4 guns. Well, that was beneficial to us. So let us see here where our front lines are. Someone's got to take Grafton, which I think Ohio was getting ready for? No, Ohio was pulling back out. You were coming across Winchester. You were going to head down there, but that's not happening now. This army, as I recall, is large. It's 18,000. You're going to stop at Winchester, and you have to stop because your readiness is low now. That's okay. It's okay. It's okay. The Department of Pennsylvania readiness has to be low. It is. Because we'll see what these armies wind up, how they wind up retreating. Because that is going to be a thing. And I feel like someone needs to be defending Washington, even if you're not overly strong. Projects are assignable, just the market reform. We're doing a policy, we're doing industrialization policy. Okay. Let us go to Department of the East. Just looks so casual there, that commander picture. And we're going to upgrade their weapons. Let's see what they've got. Not bad. Not bad. No one's got mixed muskets. That's good. Let's go over here to the Army of New York. Upgrade your weapons. Okay. Department of Pennsylvania we can't touch yet. So let's leave it for now. Until we can touch them. Confederacy's already extending their contracts to 3 years. They've already got that Upper Militia Act. Alright, so they're retreating. They are retreating south, which means they're teaming up with that army that's down there. Rifles. These are muskets, but they're at least better than mixed muskets, the Springfield muskets. Alright, to the Ohio. What in the world? Model 1817 rocket musket. Okay. Awaiting orders. Oh, it's the grid. You should be marching. Alright, so you're heading back to Nashville, as you should. And definitely try to upgrade your weapons, if at all possible. Springfield muskets, which I feel like we just have them, we must have just had them in the armory, so I maybe could have done that earlier. Alright, so Department of the West. Upgrade Mississippi Rifle. And then finally, the Army of the West. Not sure if it's actually even doing anything. Yeah, they do. They have mixed muskets, and now they don't. Alright, so it did something. Let's see if we have our buildings completed over here. Now they're close. I would love to move further south. But we shall see. Alright, so we're going to take Winchester with this group, and then they'll start building readiness. I think the Department of Pennsylvania... just build a supply depot near you. And if it gets completed, oh well. But if we have to give up on it, that's fine too. But we have a large stack here in Grafton, so we're going to have to get both of these armies' readiness up and then come down to deal with them, unless they move. Which they could. They could always move. What is here in Hampton's division? Someone appears to be moving. 18,000. Okay. Yeah, Wootwoot's readiness going down, but we are now encamped. Grant's readiness heading back up, but Grant's not going to be able to take that out on its own. Zanesville Mills. That's just a regular old building, right? Yep, that's just a regular old building. That's fine. This is a depot, which means that this army is good to go. They've got good provisions, good ammunition. We now have a supply line. Alright, move to Carthage, and then I want to see if you can still move after that. Or if your supplies are going to be hurting that badly after that point. Because right now, yeah, just the normal things that we're expecting. So this army is fine. Wondering if they can take on Carl. On their own. Because we can get to Carrollton, like that should be a supply. That should be some supplies. Tahlequah. You got no provisions, no forage, none of that. But you do. I'm gonna go down there. We'll see what's there. We're gonna go down there and see what's there. The Crittenton Johnson Resolution, a bill to preserve the Union. No action against slavery here. All right, I think that's the. No, it wasn't. Interesting. Sure. But I do think we need Militia Act 3 after this. It must have just been a historical thing. They sometimes do that. If this army is too large for the Army of the West to take out, then so be it. But their supplies are only just now starting to go down. So... yeah, 18,000. I think that's too much. Click withdraw. See what he does, where he goes. We know the Missouri State Guard is over here, with 20,000 men. You're encamped there, huh? That's not what we want. Alright, so we're going to put them together, and they will have a thing there. 25,000 new men have been recruited into the Confederacy with their new militia law, which puts them on par with us now. Which checks out with what I'm experiencing on the battlefield. Okay, something's happening over here. And Department of Ohio, you can rest a little ways. Feels like you should be larger than that. That many men, but okay. The Army of the Potomac has come over here, which probably means that Grafton is open. At least that's what I'm going to hope. We're going to move the Department of Pennsylvania in to try it, although we're way down in strength. I wonder if we hit the volunteer apocalypse. We must have. Yeah. Yeah, we hit the volunteer apocalypse. So these are much lower in strength. You can see that there. They'll fill out as we go along, but now we've got the Army of the Potomac, ooh, and the Army of Shenandoah, though. And another one's coming up here. That's gonna be enough. That's gonna be enough for me. But also, they're out of Grafton, which means that we can come take Grafton very quickly. We just have to take it. We don't even have to hold it. We just have to take it. Now, they're on their way. But they've got to march for at least some of that. As long as we take it, then we can get back out of there. And it'll be West Virginia. And not Virginia. Industrialization Policy 1 complete. Get Militia Act 3. Come on. I think we need one more day. There it is. The state of Kanawha. Virginia is divided. Union victorious in the mountains. New axis of attack open. Southern morale has wavered. As has my morale. Get back up there. Get out of Dodge, but we are now West Virginia here, which will greatly help us, I think. Alright, yeah, Moot Moot's strength now is down to 25,000, so definitely that manpower apocalypse hitting throughout the army. We're down to 113,000, so I think that we're not going to recruit anything new out of it. But we shall see how we go here. So the Department of the West is actually doing better with forage, but we should definitely get those supplies there. We're just going to hold them together right there. Jet Nord is getting better in his readiness. That's fine. We're going to hold him. The Army of Indiana, we're just going to hold right there in Nashville. Ooh, Western Army has decided to attack. Lots of armies are attacked. Of course, that just changed the states, so that's part of it. Western Army of 3,000. But you're just not ready enough to do anything with that. So the Army of the Northwest and the Army of the Shenandoah are here. And now they're deciding to camp in Union territory. That's fine. Alright, we have this stuff here. I think we need to save up military for something, although... Yeah, I don't think these are... Well, James Rifle. That would be rifled guns. I don't think so. I'm going to do some recruitment offices or save it. I think just some recruitment offices. Right now, each level of this project further increases the number of available volunteers, which is important. There are 28,000 volunteers available, so they'll flood into those units and they'll increase back up, but it's going to be a little bit. Before we do that, the militia acts will help. Boot move's almost ready again. Department of Pennsylvania back up to 17,000 men. The Army of the West is back up to 14,000. Department of the West now down to 8,000. It happens. Yep. Okay. Diplomacy Policy 1 has been enacted by the Confederates. And Wheeling is under attack. Again. Except this time it would be defensive if I moved on it. And I think I will. I don't think there's any reason not to. We have more men. We have a lot more guns than that. So, let's go. I think we'll have to play it, though.
All right. So the Battle of Wheeling, once again, except this time it is the Battle of Wheeling, West Virginia, which is fantastic. This time we have Rutledge Ridge down south. It's a different map. It's a little bit flatter map than the map we had at the beginning of the episode, which I think is helpful to me. I kind of set up the exact same way. We're going to set the artillery on its own and bring the infantry all under Grant, so we can kind of move that there. The big thing I wanted to do is I noticed that it's 11:08. I want to get across the river. I want to make sure I can get across the river. So, because if it were me, I would be setting up along the river crossings. And so I want to make sure that we can cross the river and then get the cannon across the river, and then we'll figure out what we're doing. Probably try and follow that road on over to the victory point, assuming that they're set up around the victory point. At this point, I realize that I am seeing across the river and I'm not seeing them, so we're going to go ahead and cross the river. And then we'll tell the cannons to get across once we are across and settled. All right, there are the cannons. We're going to get up close to the river. Oh, there they are. So they did. They kind of guarded the river crossings, but there's several river crossings that they had to guard. And you'll notice that they actually have another unit down there, a little bit guarding that river crossing. They guarded two. They guessed wrong. kind of felt good to make them guess wrong, but so now we're going to try to cross a little bit away from them and then prepare to flank them. Here I turn the map around so that I can see, in front of me. In front of me becomes in front of me. And then I'm going to set up the cannons right along the river to provide some fire from across the river at them and their fortifications, because they are built some fortifications around there. I think I could win this fight. If I were to charge their flank right now, they are divided. I think I could win that fight. But I want to get the cannons in place, so I will eventually call the army to lay down while the cannons get in place, just so they avoid some losses. I don't think they got any losses anyway, but we'll lay down. I'm a little bit worried as my computer starts to lag when I go into graphics. That gets better as we go along. I'm checking the size of the cavalry there. It's still 500. That's when I realized that, wait a minute, they have 2 units, 2 different divisions guarding the river crossing right now. Is anything over there at the victory point? Or can we just swing right past and go grab the victory point and create a defensive battle? So I decided that's the better plan, is to go do that and go defend the victory point. And so I decided to do that. We're going to bring the cannons around. Instead of crossing the river there and trying to bring the cannons in a very vulnerable way there, we're going to try to just bring the cannons on there. And we did put them on the horses first. They will wind up going along the river instead of along the road, which was disappointing. But they don't want to wind up getting picked off by the Confederates, who should have charged the cannons right here. But they didn't. Maybe they didn't see them. That is always possible. But we're going to head straight down the road, and there is nothing back home. Nothing guarding the victory point back there. So this now becomes a defensive battle, and this on Union terrain. So that's really, really important, really, really big right now. This is on Union terrain. So right now I'm going to set up one division, the Cadwalder division, along the fence that's already there, and we're going to set the other one up in the forest, right along there, just to create a short line that is pretty defensively placed there and ready to go, just in case. But anticipating that we'll wind up fighting tomorrow, that they will notice at some point near the end of the day and just kind of figure things out from there. Move our generals a little bit behind the line, get a little bit safer there. And so hopefully we can just move the cannons in the rest of today, at least close enough to get them behind us here and get set up for things. That is the plan. At this point in time, the cannons are slowly moving, but then I noticed that, they're moving now. So it's 6, 7 o'clock p.m., somewhere in that ballpark. But they are moving now, and here they come. And that is a little bit of an issue. So there I'm trying to guard my flanks, as I can see them coming around the flank, particularly that horse right there. Just trying to guard that flank, and we'll extend the left-turn flank, as it appears that that's where they're building up. And the cannons at this point, I'm realizing, are quite useless. They're not going to get in position to do much of anything in this fight, at least not tonight. So if they wind up there, I wind up trying to guard that, but I wind up just turning that guy. It's okay, and he winds up breaking that horse because it's so small. So that winds up working out pretty well. And a spoiler alert, they are not going to get into position and manage to attack tonight, and we're actually going to end the episode at the day turn here very shortly. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you did, please do like, please do comment, please do subscribe down below, all that great stuff. We're going to hit the end of the day at the end of the episode, and then I will do a little bit there. However, there is one thing to note. I'm going to build a bit of a defensive position, but here I notice a cannon is coming through undefended. And so I tell my men to charge and go grab that cannon. This is what they should have done to me. If they had seen those cannons, they should have done that to me. The cannon goes away. We tell them to get the cannon and then get back in the line as quick as you can. And they do have the cannon. We have taken those 4 guns. And again, get them back there. Retreat. Get back there as fast as you can. So here they come. Here they come. We're trying to get ready. We're trying to get ready. We're trying to get ready. We're going to move our men up and turn the flank and create a line of battle against where they are, because they are hitting our flank, which is wise. I'm glad the AI is smart enough to do something like that. We're just trying to turn ourselves and get ready for the thing, and there's the end of day. See you next time.